What is up, guys? My name is Andrew and welcome back to Safari Land. This is episode number 7, and guess what? It's been a long time since the last episode, and I'm sorry about that, but I've been all caught up with other games and Space Engineers and doing all that sort of thing. I kind of forgot about Safari Land. It doesn't help that these videos take a really long time to make because it's a lot of recording, so that's pretty much why I've been slacking off on the Safari Land front. But here's a return to Safari Land, trying to get this park done. Not done, but started, you could say, because we're still at the entrance area. But I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for this Safari Land video, so here it is. I hope you enjoy this one. This should be the last video before we actually head into the park. I mean, we're kind of in the park right now, working over here, but this will be the last episode before we get into the actual attraction kind of area, since we're still working on the front area. So what I'm doing here is, last episode we made this really nice blue building, and it's kind of like a cafe, but the problem is it seemed like it was missing something, and I soon realized what it was. It was missing actual food. It's a cafe. You can't have a cafe without food. So here we are working on some food. You'll see we use a lot of very interesting items to make the sort of food items. So the first one we made all the way on the left, you can't see it anymore here, but you'll get a glimpse of it eventually. We made some little chocolate like truffles or something. And pretty much the moral or the theme of this whole making of food is that you use random objects to make small little chocolate looking things. So you see we have chocolate truffles, maybe some sort of apple turnover over there. We've got on the far right side, we've got some sort of donut or something. We made a cake, and then we've got like some sort of s'more treat or something. And here we're making some more little chocolate treats as well, using the tips of the rope, just because it looks like little chocolate balls or something. So something tasty. Unfortunately, this Planet Coaster doesn't have very many items that are small, so we have to use a lot of gigantic items and try and make them look small over here. So here we're doing the donuts once again, because I think the donuts look pretty good. And then I forget what we do here. Maybe some chocolate bars. Yeah, some chocolate, maybe some fudge. That could be. I don't know. It's up to you guys to determine what it is. It just looks like chocolate thing. A little chocolate patty, maybe maybe a mint patty or something. I don't know. Could be anything. And then right here, we're kind of running out of ideas. So of course we use a pickaxe to make some more little chocolate truffles as well. And then we kind of copy over some of the other stuff to bring over into this area right here. It just kind of makes the blue building look a little bit better. It looks more finished as opposed to before, where it just looked kind of like an empty area. Now it looks like it's an actual kind of shop over there. And I think the screens up top will help it out a little bit as well. So here we're going to make a little bit of a line. Because if you've got something like this, you're probably going to have like a nice little queue line that people could wait in while they're either A, looking at the treats, or maybe they're also looking at how I'm looking outside. It's raining pretty bad. I'm hoping my power doesn't go out. Wouldn't that be awkward? Power going out like mid-recording, then I have to record it all over again and everything, and it's a big hassle, but hopefully that doesn't happen. So we're looking at this, and yeah, it's starting to look like an actual shop, minus the people. I mean, if we could have little... Wait, we could put a little animatronic... No, that wouldn't be very good. I think eventually what we'll do is we'll put some staff kind of standing behind the counters or something to make it look a little bit more realistic. So what we're doing here is we're making a little cash register, because you would definitely see, and it's kind of at the end of the line as well. So you definitely see a cash register here. The only problem is that it's kind of very difficult to make a cash register. I'm trying to use this little sequencer piece that Planet Coaster has, but it doesn't turn out very well. And I think the end product is not very good as well. I mean, you can tell it's a cash register, so I guess that's really all that matters, but you know, it could definitely be done a lot better than it was. So maybe I'll have to go and have a look at that, or maybe I'll look at some examples of what other people did in Planet Coaster to make a cash register, because I'm sure it's been done before. But my attempt doesn't work out very well. But at least you can tell it's a cash register, like, even though it's got like a big red button. What does that mean? Eject all customers from the store. Emergency, there are too many customers. Beep. Eject everybody. No, but we're making that right there. And then we're also making a scale. You typically see this at a lot of candy stores, because they usually sell not by piece, but by like ounce, or by pound or something. So that's that right there. We got a little bit of a pause, which I forgot to cut out, but whatever. We're going on to our first new building of this episode. This one's taken from a street view of Universal Studios, and it's called the Emporium there. So, and I actually stole the name in this one as well. And it's just a shop where you can buy gifts and that sort of thing. And it's located at the start and at the exit of Universal. So, oh my god, my voice. So people come in and they see this place and they're like, ooh, I'm gonna go buy some stuff. And so that's essentially what it is. So we're making a nice red floor to kind of go along with the red path that we've got. And we're actually gonna change the path a little bit later, but we don't change the floor because I think the red looks pretty nice. So one of the features of this Emporium is it's got kind of two entrances. It's got like a diagonal entrance, and then it's got a side entrance. And what we're doing right now is the side entrance. So you can see we're kind of making a frame for that to make it look like an entrance instead of just a hole in the wall. So that's I think that turns out pretty well. And then we've got the wall coming over. Unfortunately, here's one of the things I'd like to see added to Planet Coaster. Devs, if you're watching this, which would be very surprising to me, but if you are, here's one thing I would like to see added is smaller wall pieces. So you've got smaller vertical wall pieces, but what we need is smaller horizontally wall pieces. So like column pieces that look exactly like the wall, that are smaller, so that you can make like small well, columns. Like, so you see what I did right there with the little wall piece kind of on the corner. I would like to have a piece like that in the game, so I don't have to actually go for all these columns and try and make them look as close to the wall as I can. Having an actual wall piece that looks like that would be good. So pretty much just take the normal wall piece and like cut it a straight line that's vertical, cut it like that, and then you'll have your the piece I'm kind of talking about. So we're doing a lot of work on this little corner because it takes a while to make it look good. And like I said, that's one of the problems with having to do it this way, is that it doesn't always look great. So you have to end up like tweaking it and doing stuff. So here we are working on the floor, trying to make that look a little bit nicer. Eventually we're going to start working on the sign. I think that might be next. Not entirely sure, but I've battled a lot with myself with this building because it's open, right? So you see the door, you have the two doors. It's open, obviously, but I don't know if I want to do an interior for it because I'm not quite sure of my ability to make a gift shop interior. Maybe I'll try it. I don't know. Maybe we'll do like a live stream one day and I'll try to make the interior for that. And then while we're at it, I could like tweak some other buildings that we have. Oh my God, it's really pouring outside. I'm looking out the window and it's yeah, it's going crazy. But here we are pretty much copying the sign at Universal Studios so that we make, because theirs looks pretty nice. So I want ours to look pretty nice as well. Now, once again, I struggle with the name a little bit. I didn't want to copy Emporium exactly, so we try out a couple other names as well. So start with Emporium, then go to Traders, then we go to Market, then we go right back to Emporium because honestly, I couldn't think of any other word for it. I don't know. I just think Emporium is a great kind of word that entices people to go inside, because Emporium is kind of like, it's kind of a place where you find treasures and things that you wouldn't expect to find. So it's just a really good name for a store. Props to you, Universal. You got good names. Then, of course, we can't copy the sign exactly for Universal because they do a lot of intricate design work, and I'm not great at doing intricate design work. So what we're going to do is we're just going to add some knickknacks to the top to make it look kind of like a store where you find random stuff. Don't mind this little part where I'm changing the weird colors and stuff. I'm trying something. It doesn't work out. We revert it. It's all good. So we try to make like a nice orange background and then have some blue background going. It just doesn't look good. And that's another problem, is trying to make edges that are curved in Planet Coaster is not very easy. So yeah, that's that. The Emporium's pretty much finished. The exterior, at least. We had a couple of windows later, but that's pretty much it. And we move it around a little bit. That's one of the themes of this episode as well, is positioning, because I do have a lot of trouble with figuring out where I want these buildings to go. So for instance, the Emporium, obviously it's going to be our first building. Like when you get in, you've got to see the Emporium. It's got to be right there. And actually, you know, I never thought about this, but the Emporium sign is facing back, like, so the guests are going to come in and they're not going to actually see the Emporium sign. And that's how it is at Universal as well. And I've just thought about why it might be. It's because you don't want people visiting a gift shop on their way in. They're not going to buy anything. They're going to adventure stuff. They don't want to carry stuff on the rides. But while they're on their way out, you do want them to see the sign so they can go ahead and buy stuff. But while on their way in, it can just be a generic opening like it is right there, because all they might need on their way in is a bottle of water or something like that. So that makes sense. More props to you, Universal. You've got really good design work, and I'm just now figuring it out, so that's pretty awesome. These are some of those new flower bed things that they added very recently, actually, and some new flowers as well. I think the flowers look really nice for Planet Coaster. They definitely needed more flowers, and they delivered. They added a lot of new flowers, and I use a lot of them in this episode to try and fill blank space. That's one of my favorite things to do, is just fill any blank space with flowers, because flowers look nice and such. Working on the roof right here and everything. So later in this video, I kind of ran out of ideas for buildings, because I feel like we have everything, right? You would need an info kiosk. You would need a some sort of food area. You need a gift shop, and then you need somewhere you could buy fast passes. Isn't that it? Like, I don't think you would need any other buildings. So we do kind of run out of ideas kind of midway through this episode, and you'll definitely see that where we start to bring in other ideas. Working on the pathing right here, like I said, we changed the pathing up a little bit. I just think I like that kind of pathing better than the red, and I think it looks more theme parky to have that nice little brick pathing. So yeah, we decided to keep that one and such. So now what we're doing is we're working on a little bit of a fence for this area. So anywhere that there's a big space, we're gonna have a fence open to show that there's a gate there where people could like bring wheelchairs in or anything like that. And then anywhere between these turnstiles is just gonna be a normal gate so that people don't like skip the line or anything like that. I can't believe I forgot to do this earlier, but I think it kind of completes the look of the entrance area. Now we're gonna be working on an actual flower area. So the other area was kind of simple. We just added a bush, but here what we're doing is we're adding I shouldn't call it a flower area. I should call it a garden kind of. So it's a place where you just put lots of plants to cover up blank area and to kind of merge different areas. So that's what we're doing right here. And we're also going to use this fence piece. I really like the fence. I think we did pretty well on that, even though it's kind of simple, but I think it looks pretty good. So using the fence piece right there to kind of finish off the area. And the fence is going to be used to separate backstage areas with normal areas. So anywhere in that green area that you see off to our right of the camera is going to be backstage. I don't know what we're going to put there, but maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll put like a tent there, like a place where the workers would relax or something like that. Or maybe we'll put some cones or something. I don't know. We'll find a way. More backstage work here. We're just using concrete to kind of make like a little path. And so eventually this would be like a sidewalk, which would be next to a road or something where like that is the security area. So police would be able to kind of come back there as well. And then we've got a fence to separate the red from the gray. We didn't do a very good job separating it, did we? I'm just noticing that now, but I think it's fine. It looks pretty good. And then once again, our classic way of showing that it's a fence, or that it's a gate rather, is just by opening it. All right, there we go. And then of course the hardest part. This is the hardest part, is signs. Like they don't have any small signs in Planet Coaster. They only have big signs, which, I mean, I guess it makes sense. Most signs are big, but they don't, that would be another thing I'd like to see them add, is just a small little generic sign, just like this one, but like half the size or half the width or something. So just something you could like stick somewhere that says staff only. So working on the flower area now, or the garden. We use a lot of the new stuff, like the rose stuff. We use the clinging roses. We use lots of new plants and that sort of thing. Even a rock in there, I think that'd be good. And in fact, just putting that rock there looked so good to me that I kind of want to make like a little fountain. Because when I see rocks, I'm kind of inspired to build a fountain. And we already did build the waterfall, which is kind of like a giant fountain. By the way, we used the waterfall in this episode. Just saying, if that's gonna hype you up, we use the waterfall. Finally, we do get a little bit into the Congo area in this episode, so it's not just the entrance, but yeah, I kind of want to build a fountain with rocks, like a small fountain. Like a miniature one. I think it would look pretty cool. Next up, this is another direct copy from Universal. Next to their Emporium, they've got this kind of circus style fence, and it's kind of closed off on the Google Maps. So I'm not really sure what they put in there, but I think, honestly, I think it's just like a staff area or somewhere they could open, which would be extra shops or something like that. So we're gonna kind of make that exact building, because honestly I think it looks pretty nice. And it's going to be a challenge, of course, because making directly copying buildings is sometimes a bit difficult, especially when they're not using generic materials. And this one, of course, is using a canvas kind of siding, so it's going to be fun. But there we go. We're making the columns there, and next up, we're going to do the wooden structure. So it's got like this. I really like this style, by the way. The style of, like, you don't really have a roof, but you've got this kind of wooden beam style, and I think it looks I don't know the word. It looks nice, but it looks kind of like I don't know what the word I'm looking for. It just looks really theme parky, I guess. So we do that one right there, and of course now we're going to be working on the siding. We find this cool little banner piece which we can turn upside down to kind of make like a circus-like siding. It wiggles a little bit, but that's okay, because in real life canvas siding would also wiggle a little bit. But honestly, I think it ends up looking really nice right there as well. even though it's kind of wiggly a little bit. We're doing some more work on the roof right here, and this, yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier with the nice wooden kind of roof style, and then the crisscross. Of course, you got to do the crisscross if you're gonna do the wooden roof. You've got to do the crisscross. It's necessary. And there we go, finally ending off that little area. So that theoretically that would open up and there'd be extra shops in there, or there'd be like a staff area, you never know. Or maybe it's just like a prop, you never know what it is. So there we go, we've got our first building, or first buildings, I guess, if you count that little building as a building. So what we're doing here, this is cheating, isn't it? I actually copied over the bathroom that we used earlier, and we're gonna kind of tweak it a little bit to fit our needs here. Because I knew you'd need a bathroom, and I liked how we did the bathroom so much earlier that I wanted to use kind of a very similar design. So yeah, we're gonna pretty much do that, but we changed it up quite a bit. So instead of, you kind of have a 2-hall design here where the women go in one hall and the men go in another hall. We're gonna be using a 1-hall design this time, so the men and women go into the same hall, and then off to the left will be the men's bathroom, and off to the right would be the female's bathroom, and that sort of thing. So right here you see me being frustrated with trying to place that bathroom. I was trying to figure out what was in the way. It turns out that path right there was in the way. So once we delete that path, everything works out pretty well. That's a common theme in most playthroughs of Planet Coaster, I think, is paths are annoying. Paths are the worst. They, I mean, the path tools in Planet Coaster are really good. So you can very easily create kind of the paths where you want them to go. But at the same time, there's some points where it'd be nice to have better pathing tools, I guess. I don't know what they could do, but there are just some problems with the pathing tools that seem to cause more problems, I guess. So you'll see here we're messing around with the design of the buildings. I don't know where to place them. I don't know kind of what to do, because if you go and look on the street view of Universal, where I copied the canvas tent and the Emporium, they actually have kind of a side path as well. So right in front of the canvas tent, there's another path that kind of goes into the park as well. So you have 2 kind of ways you could go. But in this park, I only wanted one entrance, which would be that double columns that we're kind of leading towards. So I didn't really know what to do with that. But eventually I finally decide, you know what, let's just use our fence pieces here and try to change things up. So what we do is we kind of make it so that this is a little backstage area again. And we'll make it look nicer. Don't worry, guys. It'll look nice. It'll look pretty. There you go. I love that fence piece. I just really like it. It looks really good, I think. I was watching Geekism video. I don't know if you guys know the YouTube channel Geekism, but I was watching one of his videos, and he made a much better fence. But I like our fence. It looks nice. But once again, messing around with the pathing tools, trying to get them to cooperate with me. They don't want to, but trying to still get them to, and eventually we get the pathing tools to cooperate. It just takes a little bit of finagling, I guess, if that's a word. So there we go. See, once again, we have another blank space here. What are we going to fill it up with? Flowers. You always got to fill this place up with flowers. So I always like to start with those small flowers because I don't know, that's my favorite flower, the orange one. It just looks really nice. And then palm trees right there, I think, was a really good choice as well. It looks pretty good. Once again, we're doing benches. You'll see that in this episode we put a lot of benches down, and honestly, go to a theme park and take a look. There's a lot of benches. There's not just 1 or 2. There's benches everywhere pretty much. Every kind of path every way you look, you'll see at least like 10 benches in that general area. So this building's gonna end up looking a bit weird. There you go. That's it. See, look how weird that looks. Don't worry, we change it. But I was kind of testing out designs here, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So obviously the first iteration looked a little bit odd, and I realized it looked a little bit odd. And part of me wanted to say, screw it, let's just go with the booty building, as I called it. But the other part of me was like, you know what? This is a family-friendly channel. We can't have buildings looking like booties. So we abolished the booty building, and we kind of make it into a nice little thing right there. And this is a really cool thing I like about design in Planet Coaster, is you can start with something that looks super weird. Like, look at that design. It's like a rounded thing and then like a random edge. But from that super weird thing, you can scenery it such that it looks nice. So it looks like it should be there, pretty much. And that's a really cool thing about design, which I really like. So just by adding this flower area, I think we really bring up the value, you could say, of this kind of little area. And then, of course, guess we're going to add benches. You always need more benches. and then that trash can. I figured there wouldn't be a trash can between two benches, just because people don't like to sit next to trash cans. So making a little staircase here. Staircases are always fun. This is honestly, this is my favorite block in this game, is those temple pieces, because they can be used in so many ways, and they're also small. So yeah, they're very good. Working on a couple of windows here. When you have too much blank space on a wall, just add a window. I think it makes it look pretty nice. Honestly, I don't really know what to do about that little where we put the bench. It kind of looks a little bit blank. So we might end up doing something a little bit later, but we're doing a quick little bench run here where we add benches everywhere. So yeah, there would be benches everywhere in a park such as this. All right, that is going to be, well, no, that's actually not the end of it. I was going to say that's going to be the end of the entrance area, but it's not. That's the end. It's almost the end of the entrance area where we move on to the Congo area, which I'm super excited for, by the way, because I had a little taste of Congo while working on this little area, and it was actually kind of fun. It was kind of refreshing getting away from the style of the main area and going into the style of the Congo area. But our first task here, and this is something, I watched a video on Disney World and how they do their stuff, and apparently what they do is when they're going into a new area, they change up the path. But you can't just outright change up the path out of nowhere, because it's going to look a bit obvious. So what they typically do is they make a bridge, and the bridge goes over some water or something, and the bridge is made out of wood. So you change from the original path to wood, and then from wood to the new path. So it's obvious going from the initial path to wood because the bridge is going to be made out of wood. It's just a natural transition. So I think it's a very good way to kind of break off the areas, is with little bridges and then changing the path type. So here we are, we're finally using the waterfall. I think this is pretty awesome because we've had that thing sitting there since episode like 2 or something, and so it's nice to finally use that. We're using some of the pieces that we used from the waterfall as well to try and make this cool little bridge, like columns, I guess. And you would definitely see these on a bridge because, I mean, come on, it's a theme park. In theme parks, typically they would not expect you to walk across a bridge without supports because you would fall. Some little children would decide to get too close to the edge and fall over, which actually reminds me, I do need to add some supports to that bridge because right now it's looking a little bit janky. We're getting to the end of our episode, and actually what we're going to do here is we're going to slow down the video just a little bit once we get to the end so you can see kind of everything in the area. And there we go. There it is. Now we're slowed down so you can kind of see what we've done in this episode. I think it looks pretty good. Messing around with some of the weird details there. Yeah, when you zoom out, some of the stuff doesn't render properly. But that's going to be the end of our episode today, end of episode number 7. I look forward to episode number 8, where we'll probably be working on the Congo area. If you like the video, hit the like button, put your comments down below, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that if you want. I mean, it's your choice. It's free, but like, you can do it if you want. Link to the Discord channel is down in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next video.